All right, and we're back. In the last episode, what we did is we worked on a build system. So we made a little stable that we can build. So in this episode, we're going to keep on working on some building stuff, and we're going to build the bed. So duplicate that stable that you had. If you can remember where that's at, duplicate it, and just call this new one bed. So for the bed one thing that we have to do is we have to get that original material for that bed. So let's find that original material and let's rename it, because that's a hard name. I'm not going to remember that. MI modern bed, rename to just bed underscore mat. Okay. And for the pillows on the bed, we can just name them pillows. So find those and rename that pillows underscore mat. All right, cool. Now for that bed BP, we're just going to replace this bed with that bed. So go back to your third person blueprint assets. The bed BP here, we need to put here. That's a little bit large, but whatever. All right, and I'm going to delete the other bed. Yeah, the king size bed. Okay, cool. Now, there's a box around the bed. And what I need to do is I need to make sure that box, first of all, I need to make sure my bed is on the ground. Second of all, make sure this box is able to be walked in by the player. It's not looping on the outside or nothing like that. So there we go. And now replace the pillows on this bed with the placement material. Okay, so that's element 0 and element 1. All right, now we need to write the code for the bed. So when you walk through the bed, let's open up the blueprint here. All the code's already here because we had already done this before. So this widget, let's look at the class here. This is on the build pop out. So either we can take this build pop out and make it variable, like make it so that it keeps changing this depending on what you walk into, which would be a really efficient way to do that. But it would take some setup. Or we could just duplicate it and just attach this widget to that. And that's what I'm about to do, actually. I'm just going to do the easy way. So I'm going to make a folder called build widgets. And this build pop-up one, I'm going to rename it. So it's going to be called build stable underscore WB. Cool. And I'm going to put that right in the build widgets. That way I can just duplicate it. Duplicate. And now we're going to call it build bed underscore WB. Now, so for this widget, you want to make sure that the build bed is plugged in. So plug that in. And now let's change it. Let's remove the binding and let's add a new one. So it's going to be third person character, get player character. Then what you want to do is get hardwood, and you want to format the text, and you want to say curly bracket hardwood in curly bracket out of how many hardwood did we say? 6. And then we're going to write hardwood. All right, perfect. So now it's going to show how much hardwood we have out of 6. Is it only going to take hardwood to build the bed, or will it take something else? Let's add something else. So let's duplicate that text. Can't duplicate it, so just... Okay, this one we're going to have to do a little different. So last time we didn't add a canvas panel to it, but this time for the bed, because it's going to take more than one material to build it, we're going to have to put a canvas panel first. So delete everything and put a canvas panel. Now we can add text to that canvas panel. For the first text, we're just going to take the binding and make the binding that we just made. And then for the next text, that's going to be right underneath that. So you can just duplicate it and then drag it right underneath that. And then you can say that it's going to cost something else. Like, what else is it going to cost? Like maybe 3 linens. So there's no such thing as linen in the third person character yet. But we're going to have to remember to add the linen. We're going to have to remember to add this to everything. So we need to add it to our weight. We need to add it to our data table, and then it'll be perfect. But for right now, I'm just going to add it here, right here in the little items here, and I'll make sure I put it in the items category. All right, so that way I could just reference it when I'm doing the bed. So I'll do the text block and I'll bind it, create a binding. Also do the third person character, get player character. Then you want to do get linen. And then you want to do format text. And you're going to do a curly bracket, linen, curly bracket, out of, what did we say, 3? 3 linen. Oops, capitalize that. I hope I'm spelling this right, or I'm like a fool. Anyways, boom. Now that widget should display that we need, hardwood and linen to build this bed. Let's kind of test it out to make sure it pops up correctly what we want. Click on the bed, make sure that widget is right where it needs to be, and we're going to play. So essentially, this player should be able to walk into here, and it should tell us how much. Oh, it is. It's telling us, but it's very teensy tiny. So you see it there. It's very small. Let's fix that problem by making it a little bit bigger. The widget, I'm just going to make it visible real quick so we can just really quickly do this. Visible. There it goes. And it's negative in size, so we're going to make it, it was positive in size, so we're going to make it negative in size. And like that. Bring it up here, down like that. Bow. Now that should be way better. Oh, I know what we could do before we end the episode. We got to put the player onto the bed. But it's not going to come in handy yet until we build the bed. So let's put the player there, and we'll use this when we need it. So open the blueprint for the bed. You can make sure those pillows are placement materials. I thought we did that, but we may have just done that in the instance of the bed. Either way it goes. Cool, save. Event graph. No, not event graph. On the viewport, go to the static mesh, press add skeletal mesh. Now, we just need to add our player here. So I'm going to call it player sleep. Okay, now go to the player's animations and find his death animation. And all we're going to do is make a duplicate of this death animation, and we're going to call it sleep. In the sleep one, just delete all the frames. Let me show you how to do that. So I'll open up this animation. I will stop it right when it gets to the end and he's not moving. And I'm going to right click and say remove frame 0 to 78 or wherever yours is at. That way your sleep animation will just look like this. Let's find his sleep one. So he's not moving at all, right? He's just sleeping. So that's the animation we're going to add to the bed. So to the bed on the player sleep, we need to come down here to skeletal mesh, and we're going to add in a witness, maybe. Yeah, witness. And instead of animation blueprint, we're going to say animation asset and find the sleep animation that you just made. Perfect. Now all you got to do is put him on the bed, so he's sleeping on the bed. And the other thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure that his visibility is turned off, because if his visibility is turned off, whenever he does go to sleep, we're just gonna, just like we did for the camel, we're just gonna, replace the invisible one with the visible one. So there we go. And let's turn his visibility off. Okay, cool. Since we are here and we don't have linen in the game, I'm going to simulate the fact that we do have some linen. So let's say that we do have like 10 linen, right? And let's say that we have a little bit of hardwood too. Let's give myself like a little bit of like 7 hardwood. Okay, so then we should be able to build the bed, but we don't have that code in there yet. So let's write that code now before we end this episode. So it looked like it showed how much linen we had and showed how much hardwood we had, right? 7 out of 6, 10 out of 3. Perfect. We should be able to build this bed. So let's go to the bed blueprint here, open it up, and look at the event graph and build. This should say bed. Okay. So build the bed. Let's call this event build bed. And all we're going to do is take the static mesh component, which is right here, and we're going to make it collision enabled. So that's already good. Static mesh set 0. All right, so let's go back to our static mesh here, and let's look at the 0. This is the bed. So we need to set the 0 to bed mat that we made earlier. And we also need to take off of this static mesh component and say set material. One more time, and this time instead of element 0, we're going to change element 1 to the pillows. Pillow mat. And then we're going to destroy the component of that box. We need to have a variable in the bed. So let's make a variable. So let's say in sleep or not sleep, basically. Sleep. Cool. We'll use that to see if the character is sleep or not sleep. So we might not have to destroy this box here. But before we even move on, let's go down to this event interact. Third person character, it's going to check how much scrap wood. That's wrong. We need to check how much hardwood you have. And if you have at least, what did we say? Shit, I can't remember. 6 hardwood, 3 linen. Okay. So if you have at least 6 hardwood, we need to do an and. So drag off here and say linen. And copy this, copy, paste. And it has to be greater than or equal to at least 3, right? So drag off this one and say and boolean. And hook that one up, and then hook this up into the main boolean. So if that's the case, if all that's true, then build the bed. Okay. Now on the bed, let's put another box. Let's just copy that box. Can we just duplicate it? Yep. And we're going to call this one sleep box. All right, perfect. So now if the bed is built and you walk into the sleep box, so let's say bed built. So make that a new variable. So if the bed is built, get, and then put branch. If you walk into that sleep box, so select sleep box, go down on the right hand side, select on begin overlap. And the character that we're going to overlap it is going to be the third person character. And if the bed is built, then we want something to happen. If the bed is not built, then we want something else to happen. So if the bed is not built, we don't want anything to happen, because if the bed is built, it's not built, it's just going to show this stuff. So let's set bed built to right here after you destroy the component. Set bed built to true. We can actually put that code right up here. Okay, yeah, let's put it up here on the event interact so they can make it a little bit more cool. We don't even have to do the sleep box and all that. Let's do this. So on event interact, if they press the E button and the bed is not built, then they will build the bed if they have the necessary stuff, right? But if they press the E button and the bed is built, something else will happen. So copy and paste this branch. That's going to do everything. So if the bed is built, then do something else. But the bed is not built, do this. Okay, so if the bed is built, though, then we need to sleep the character. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the third person character and we're going to set visibility of the mesh to false. This is on true. We'll set it to false. And then what we need to do is set this player sleep visibility, set visibility to true. Okay, watch. So we're not going to be able to wake up yet, but we'll be able to fall asleep if the bed is built. So let's go down here and let's play. Let's make sure we have everything saved, though. Okay, go in here. You've got enough items, so we're going to build the bed. Bed is built. Now, if you press that, now you're asleep on the bed. And all we need to do to get him off the bed is flip-flop. So we need to press E once more to get him off the bed. So go back into that blueprint real quick. And on the false, right here, we're going to do a flip-flop. So drag this stuff up out of the way. And let's get this stuff right here. And, well, I guess true, it's going to be flip-flop. Flip-flop. Set visibility, then just copy all of this right here. And just do the opposite. So plug that into B. And make sure this is plugged into the player. For that visibility, we need to set true. And for the other visibility, we need to set false. So this time, when you press E, if the bed is built, then you're going to get up from the bed. All right, so boom. Build the bed. Now sleep in the bed. Now get up from the bed, and now you're walking back around. The last thing that you need to do real quick, because I don't want y'all to be stranded here. So if you build the bed, watch, you can still walk away from the bed. And that's not cool. We got an invisible person walking. So let's just freeze the player's movement and then unfreeze his movement. And then we'll be done. So here, when they go to sleep, we need to take the player's movement. So drag off the player character and say set movement mode from the character movement to none. Copy and paste that down below. And just set it to walking. And make sure your target from your character movement is plugged up. And now you're good to go. And that is where I'm going to end this episode. We've made a bed. The only other thing that we haven't done for the bed is when you do sleep, you should be able to sleep till the daytime or something like that. Like in Red Dead, that's what you can do. You can sleep till the daytime. Now I can't walk away from the bed or anything, but I can get up. So there we go. That's how you sleep in the bed. Right now, sleep doesn't do anything for you, but at least you can sleep in the bed that you built. So that's where I'm going to end the episode. Thanks for joining me in this one. I will holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.
Run to the money, on the feet, don't fail. The DA and the judge, wanna do their best to jail. I done turned it all.